worse.
Accept responsibility. Good evening. The Pope has paid a Christmas visit in prison to the man who tried to kill him in 1981. He spent 20 minutes in a cell with the Turkish terrorist Mehmet Ali Agca. Afterwards, the Pope said, "I've spoken to him as a brother whom I have pardoned and who enjoys my trust."
The meeting took place in Rome's Rebibbia prison after Pope John Paul had taken part in a Christmas service with hundreds of top security prisoners. Agca is serving a life sentence for attempted assassination. Today he was alone with the Pope in his cell for 20 minutes, although guards were stationed outside the open door. No one was allowed to hear the conversation, and the tone was described as almost confessional. The Pope said their conversation must remain a secret, but he was visibly moved as he listened to Agca. Agca did not kneel when the Pope entered his cell, but as he left, the Muslim who once said he tried to kill the Pope because he was a symbol of Christianity bent down and kissed the Pope's hand.
In London, Scotland Yard were on full alert for more IRA bombs, and the Christmas sales started slowly. Police said it was much quieter than usual in the West End, possibly because they'd asked the public not to bring cars into the main shopping areas.
The police say far fewer people turned out for the sales than in previous years, but whether that was due to the Christmas bombing campaign was difficult to say. Hundreds of police were on duty in the West End with patrols on virtually every corner. By mid-morning, only one incident, an abandoned plastic bag, had been reported. The police had asked shoppers not to leave their bags unattended, and most people heeded the warnings. And there were only half the number of cars usually found in London on a shopping day. But outside the big stores, the police were taking no chances. But bomb spotting is no easy task. Every bag of uncollected rubbish is potentially suspicious. Some of the public were more vigilant than others. And special security measures were taken in Oxford Street by one restaurant anxious to protect its customers. At lunchtime, police sealed off Baker Street after reports of a suspicious package in a litter bin. The police blew it up under control conditions only to find it had been a false alarm. By mid-afternoon, they checked out 23 suspect vehicles and packages, all false alarms. But it indicated the public's vigilance, so the police weren't complaining, and neither were the stores who said the sales were going well. Sam Hall, ITN, in the West End of London.
President Reagan has said he accepts responsibility as president for security lapses which allowed the bombing of the American Marine headquarters in Beirut in October. He said it would be unfair to punish local commanders for not fully understanding the threat posed by terrorists. The bomb, planted by Shiite Muslim fundamentalists backed by Iran, killed 241 American servicemen. A House of Representatives report last week said security at the base had been lax and blamed the Marines' commanders for serious errors of judgment. A Pentagon report, which has been delayed, is believed to make the same criticism.
We have to come to grips with the fact that today's terrorists are better armed and financed. They are more sophisticated. They are possessed by a fanatical intensity that individuals of a democratic society can only barely comprehend. I do not believe, therefore, that the local commanders on the ground, men who have already suffered quite enough, should be punished for not fully comprehending the nature of today's terrorist threat. If there is to be blame, it properly rests here in this office and with this president. And I accept responsibility for the bad as well as the good.
American Marines in Beirut went on maximum alert again this afternoon when heavy artillery shells fell near their base at the airport. They don't know if they were the target or if they'd been caught in crossfire between Lebanese troops and Shiite Muslims fighting for control of the Shatila camp. No American casualties were reported. A member of the British peacekeeping force was slightly injured today, cut on the head by debris from an explosion in the port area of Beirut. One person has died and 3 were injured in a gas explosion in Paris. The blast in the early hours wrecked a 4-story house and ripped apart the upper floors of the building next door. 1 woman was found dead and 2 others were rescued. Then sniffer dogs and rescuers went in to look for people buried in the rubble. 3 were found, 1 seriously injured. The other 2 are suffering from shock. Now sport, and another busy day for soccer fans. First, a full roundup of the classified results with our sports correspondent Jeremy Thompson.
Cannon League Division 1, Arsenal 1, Birmingham 1, Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 0, Liverpool 2, Leicester 2, Luton 0, West Ham 1, Manchester United 3, Notts County 3, Norwich 0, Ipswich 0, Southampton 1, Watford 0, Sunderland 3, West Brom 0, Wolves 3, Everton 0. Division 2, Brighton 1, Fulham 1, Carlisle 3, Newcastle 1, Charlton 1, Crystal Palace 0, Chelsea 2, Portsmouth 2, Derby 2, Cardiff 3, Huddersfield 1, Manchester City 3, Oldham 3, Leeds 2, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Middlesbrough 2, Swansea 0, Shrewsbury 2, Division 3, Bolton 1, Oxford 0, Bradford City 6, Wigan 2. Bristol Rovers against Gillingham is an evening match. Exeter 1, Brentford 2, Newport 2, Plymouth 0, Orient 2, Bournemouth 0, Port Vale 2, Sheffield United 0, Rotherham 0, Hull 1, Scunthorpe 1, Preston 5, Southend 2, Lincoln 0, Walsall 1, Burnley 1, Wimbledon 4, Millwall 3, Division 4, Blackpool 1, Hartlepool 0, Chester 0, Mansfield 4, Chesterfield, Bury 5, Colchester 4, Aldershot 1, Darlington 1, Doncaster 2, Northampton 2, Peterborough 1, Reading 2, Torquay 2, Rochdale 1, Halifax 1. The Stockport against Hereford match is an evening kick-off. Swindon 0, Wrexham 1, York 1, Tranmere 1. The Scottish Premier Division, Celtic 1, Dundee United 1, Dundee 0, St Johnstone 1, Hibernian 0, Rangers 2, and finally Division 1, Airdrie 1, Meadowbank 2. And there were 2 extraordinary comebacks in the First Division. Liverpool, 2 down at home to lowly Leicester, needed goals by Sammy Lee and Ian Rush to salvage a 2-2 draw, leaving them on top. Manchester United 3-1 up against Notts County looked to have the game won, but Justin Fashanu put 2 past them in the second half to stop United going ahead of Liverpool, who still lead the table by 3 points. Behind those 2, Southampton won to go 3rd, and West Ham beat Luton, pushing them into 5th place. Elsewhere in the First Division, Charlie Nicholas's happy Christmas continued. He scored his first goal at Highbury after 1,157 playing minutes with the club, but it took a penalty to do it. In the Second Division, Chelsea could have gone top if Kerry Dixon hadn't had a disastrous day. Dixon scored 1 goal against Portsmouth, then missed 2 penalties and gave away a 3rd as his team were held to a 2-2 draw. It left Sheffield Wednesday 2 points clear despite their second defeat in 2 days. Manchester City beat Huddersfield to overtake Newcastle, who lost at Carlisle. Well, Ian Botham played again for Scunthorpe United and once more against the wishes of the cricket bosses. Tonight, though, he must be wishing he hadn't bothered. Botham was booked. He gave away his first goal as his team were thrashed 5-1 by Preston North End.
That's the news so far tonight. Our late news is at 8:45. See you then.